Shalom, shalom, shalom. My name is Michael Sahno, and welcome to this episode, number 2 of the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. Like I said, my name is Michael Sahno.
I'm Rachel Villegas.
And this is a positive podcast about Israel. So let me read off a couple of ads from our wonderful partners. The first one is from iConnect. iConnect, engagement with Israel that earns you rewards. Earn points and connect with Israel with articles, games, quizzes, polls, and more. So what exactly is iConnect? Well, iConnect is a social gaming platform where you can play, earn points, and receive cool prizes all for free. Their goal is to help you stay connected with Israel no matter where on the globe you are. Now, why should you play? Well, because iConnect introduces you to a unique way to acquaint yourself with all things Israel while working towards winning once-in-a-lifetime experiences. So head on over to iConnect, www.iConnect.co.il. That's www.iConnect.co.il and start playing now. I'd like to give a shout out to Shoshana Goldlist, who works there. She's the head of the marketing person, our contact person. She's having a baby.
Congratulations.
Mazel tov. To Theo, who's covering for her right now. Big shoes to fill, buddy. Keep it real. All right, so our next one is from Israel Phones. Israel Phones is the leading provider of communication devices for people traveling to Israel. Israel Phones offers SIM cards, MiFi devices, which are mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, travel products, and serves the connectivity needs of tour groups, synagogues, schools, community missions, study programs, and individuals, supplying international prepaid SIM cards, cell phones, and USB portable modem hotspot rentals. Israel Phones consistently provides dedicated support for your travel cell, cutting-edge technology, and they have competitive prices. For more information on what Israel Phones can do for you on your next trip to Israel, visit www.israelphones.com. That's www.israelphones.com. Did you use Israel Phones when you went over? Did you buy a SIM card before you left?
Not before I left. I bought my SIM card in Israel.
Okay, so I bought mine before I left because it was easier to do. It was suggested by Ben Gurion University. But actually, we're going to talk about going to Israel. We're going to talk about traveling to Israel in this episode. This one, there will be some interesting stories, some interesting tips, some do nots, some really wish I dids, and my boom mic is moving all over the place. So hold on.
It's like me in the last episode.
So that was the worst noise. All right. So who did we fly when we went over?
I know in Israel, well, I know in Spain we connected to LALA, but off the top of my head, I can't remember who it was from JFK to Spain.
Was it Air Europa?
Yes.
Yes, it was. It was Air Europa.
Yes.
So, all right, this is not a plug for them. This is just because it was the easiest thing to do. Years ago, I used to be an administrative assistant, a secretary. So one of the things that I used to do is I used to get flights a lot. And we used to go through this travel agency. And flights were always expensive. Now, this was a long time ago. Oh, my gosh. Date yourself, Mr. Sahno.
He's ancient.
Thank you. So around that time, one of the this sounds so bad. The internet started becoming popular. Well, people started doing things on the internet that they would have normally gone to brick and mortar places to do, or they would have gone into stores or offices to do.
Can't relate.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, I'm lying. I like shopping in
You're
person too.
Horrible person for making me feel so ancient. So what, long story short, Travelocity came out. So I was one of the first people to really push that. But it wasn't my idea to push it. It was actually my boss's idea. And my boss said, check on Travelocity, see what the prices are. And now you've got all kinds of different websites. You can go to Booking.
Google Flights. I use that a lot.
Yeah, there's all kinds of places. Where else?
Trivago, I see on TV.
Trivago's hotels, though, right?
I don't know. I think they do flights, or I think kayak. I don't know. Maybe that's just hotels too. I don't travel as much as I'd like to.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
One day.
So basically, what I was doing was I was going on Travelocity and I was getting flights, and flights were cheap back then. Now flights are coming down in price, but for a while they were really expensive again. The reason I'm bringing that up is I traditionally go on Travelocity to look for flights, and I'm always able to find cheap flights. And I think I did a traveling to Israel vlog video.
Yes, you did.
And I got a couple of comments. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay. So everyone has their favorites. So they have the places where they go where they think they get the best deal. Well, Travelocity's always helped me out. They've always, when I call them, I'm able to get a live person. I'm able to change things. But the cool thing, and this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, I used Travelocity the first time I went over. And then the second time I went over, when I went over with you, Gosh, we were on the phone. You hadn't gotten your flight yet. I had gotten my flight. And I had said what?
Go to Travelocity.
And in real time, we were sitting there looking at flights. We were able to find...
I was able to find your flight that you had gotten, and I was able to find that flight still. And I think I got it for the same price as well, even though I bought my flight like a good amount of days later.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was, but it was easy to find it. We didn't have to all you had to do was tick a couple of things on the left.
Yeah.
For the airplane, the airline. Now, airlines, that's a big thing. There's a couple of carriers that go. So there's just a little bit of backstory. So it used to be that countries only allowed into their airports. I don't know if you know this. Countries only allowed into their airports their parent line. So if you wanted to fly to Great Britain, you had to fly British Air, unless there was a partnership. If you wanted to fly to Germany, you had to fly Lufthansa. If you wanted to fly to Israel, you had to fly LALA.
And it would only be like one, like it couldn't be layovers or just like straight.
Well, you could get layovers. You could do like we did, where we flew to Madrid and you would pick up LALA into, and a lot of times those flights would be cheaper. And what happened was, I think it was in the 80s. If I'm wrong, tell me, email me, hit the comments in the video version of this, which the video version is available on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. You could check out old podcasts. You could check out our vlogs. You could check out our full-length episode. But I think it was 81. And the only reason I think it's 81 is because I just watched a video of this on YouTube about this whole thing where they changed it over and they opened up the market in Europe. Okay. And a lot of times when they look at Israel, they look at Israel market-wise as a part of Europe, like for products, services, and transportation. So it opened up all these different airlines to fly into Israel, so it became cheaper. It's still relatively expensive to fly to Israel. It's about $1,000 at a minimum. I think LL has one flight for $8.99.
That's not bad.
But it's a nice one. We're looking at the screensavers on the screen.
Walking here.
Yeah, it's right now. It's a picture of the Kotel, the Western Wall with the Al-Aqsa, with the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, in the background, and it's just pretty. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's cool. A lot of people in this photo, but anyway, so we were able to go and find a number of flights, and there were flights. There was Aeroflot, which is Russia, I think. There's Polish Airlines.
I remember Polish Airlines.
Ukrainian Air, Turkish Airlines. And we didn't want to go through Turkey. And I think I had told you I didn't want to go through Turkey because they had that, hate to bring it up, but they had that attack in the airport in Istanbul.
Yeah.
So I was like, I am not flying through Turkey. Sorry. And Turkey gets cranky with Israel a lot. In order, I don't know why. They just, well, I do know why, but it's not the subject of this podcast. But Air France goes in, British Airways goes in, Lufthansa, but there's a couple of smaller ones. And there aren't. No, I'm thinking of something else. That Delta goes in.
Delta?
Yeah, Delta, which is a nice flight because remember when we flew over, so we had made reservations for Air Europa, which was a really great airline. If you can fly Air Europa over to Europe, do it. And then picked up El Al going in on our way back, we went through Madrid. What did we go through on the way in?
They had like an extra security check for
What was the name of the airport though?
Hell.
It was a bad airport.
It was
Go on.
no man's land. This was just me. It was my personal experience, and I had never flown into Spain at all. But
Barcelona.
that was when we were going to Israel.
Yeah, when we were going to Israel, we flew into Barcelona.
So never again for me. But because it was a connecting flight, there was like a section at the second floor of the airport that like whoever has a connecting flight stays on. But there's absolutely nothing there. Like it reminded me of a hospital, and I hated it because everything was just desolate and quiet and creepy. But then on the first floor below, you see all these like other stores and like people going about like normal life while you're like in the ether watching
eating
them.
They were doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was so weird. I was like,
It was purgatory.
Yes.
It was Roman Catholic purgatory. And I, as a Jew, got to experience that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because we don't have anything like that. But if you're curious, go to Barcelona. And
Stay there for like 6 hours.
Well, it was weird. It was so sterile. It was so empty, and it wasn't. I remember going, I don't feel like I'm at an airport. I feel like, or I don't feel like I'm in an airport of any
country.
Magnitude of any importance. It was like I felt like I was in Tuskegee Airport in the middle of nowhere, with crickets and stuff like that. And then on our flight back, we go through Madrid.
That one was beautiful. I love that one.
Tell them about it.
I had the best paella of my life in that airport, and I found it randomly in about the 10 minutes before our flight boarded. I left Michael, and he was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I want to find food." And I was roaming around like everywhere, and I just found, I think it was like, it had like the buffet option, but I didn't want that.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and I just saw, because it was like by weight. So then I saw like at the end, there was like paella, and I was like, I want that. And I wanted to lick the carton on the plane because that thing was so good.
Jeez, that's awesome. Well, all right. So Barcelona, hold on, is sterile, boring. Not the city. The city itself is amazing, but the airport is like I said, it's sterile. But Madrid, when you go to Madrid Airport, it's so enormous. It's like,
There's people. There's actually people interacting with each other.
oh my gosh, it's huge. It's beautiful. There's all kinds of stuff happening. There's people everywhere. There's every type of convenience you could want, food, magazine, entertainment, music, whatever you wanted.
Yeah, they had like the little last minute souvenir that you could get, which I always buy my dad a magnet wherever I go. So I was able to find a nice magnet. So that was nice for him.
But do you remember our flight when we came back from Madrid, when we finally got to our gate, was in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, like that's because we had to take the bus like actually into the country. That one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one. That was different because like I didn't know this. Like I thought it was like a regular shuttle bus because they built the airports at different times when they expanded it. So like the other part, the main part of the airport was actually inside the country. So they had to stamp our passport as if we were going like into the country, like to stay there, even though we weren't. And they took us on a bus, like an actual like regular transit bus to the other airport to get to our next flight.
I mean, the place is huge. There's a train system inside.
Yeah.
Do you remember we had to get on the tram
Yeah.
to go somewhere else too? But my whole point for bringing it up is that connecting flights, if you have to take a connecting flight and you can get one, take it through Madrid. It's awesome. It's amazing. And I think our flight was Air Europa, but we flew Delta because Delta picked up. And you remember the flight attendants? They were like super duper nice.
So nice. Oh my gosh.
And we got on LALA and everything changed.
Honestly, but LALA had one of the best in-flight food that I've ever experienced. So I was happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not a long flight. It's like a 5-hour flight from Madrid to Israel, to Tel Aviv, Ben Gurion Airport. But it's such a different vibe. It's such a different, I don't want to say the customer service is non-existent.
I feel like they like security is a priority in airports, yes, but I feel like LALA took it to a different level that I had never experienced before till flying with them.
Yes. Well, that's definitely true. So when I just got back, flying to Israel was some serious security going through JFK. Wasn't bad. I mean, I say it wasn't bad because I've been on 1, 2, 3, 4 other LL flights in the past 3 years. So I knew what to expect. I'm pretty sure you did not know what to expect.
No.
So describe your impressions of it. All right, in relation to you flew to the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so compare the two.
Well, I was little for the Philippines. I was 4, so that was also before 9/11.
Didn't you just go somewhere though?
Japan.
Oh, all right. So Japan. All right.
Japan. That it felt like a normal day in the airport. Like, take your shoes off, put your bag in the thing, take out your laptop. It's a rush, but then like it's like a bum rush, and then you're like, when it's over, because it's like everything's
It's
because everything's so fast, and they're like,
All right.
I want to get this done.
On which
On-
Japan?
Yeah,
All
like
right.
in JFK, they're like, go, and I'm just like, oh my god, like it was like I want to get the stuff out for you guys, but like there's like also 20 people right behind me trying to do the same thing, so it's like you throw it on the conveyor belt and hope for the best and hope they don't stop you. But like, and that was quick. But then on the connecting flight to El Al, it's like they called your ticket by your name, and they're like, they take your stuff and like all the carry-ons you have with you and go through every single item in your carry-on, and then it's like, am I gonna miss my flight, or like are you guys gonna hold the plane for us because we're still here? Like,
well, that's the thing though. They do hold the plane for you. They don't. They go through every single. And yes, if it takes longer, it takes longer, and the plane leaves later. I don't know if you know that.
Okay.
So go on.
But it was weird because like they were going through this stuff like, why do you have this? Because we were bringing like the equipment for a show. So it was like, why do you have this camera? Why do you have all these cables and things for like, because we were going as students. I don't know if they knew that, but it's like, why do you have this stuff? It's like, we're shooting a show in Israel and we just have to record it. Please don't take it away.
So actually, I have a funny story about that. So on our flight back, so they went through, they scrutinized every single piece of electronic equipment we had. They wanted to know why we had it. They wanted to know what we were doing. And we told them, of course, that we're working on the show, 12 Cities in Israel. We flew over 2 years ago to make the little less than 2 years ago to make the pilot, the Beersheba pilot, which is on the YouTube channel. You can watch it, full-length episode. So they did. They went over everything. They scrutinized everything. They were like, what is this? What is this? Where are you going? Who are you staying with? Did anyone give this to you? Blah, 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 blah. Then we get to Spain to come home, and the guy is going through our stuff, and he says, the camera, wireless microphones. What are you guys, spies? Okay, you're good. Go through. I was like, oh my gosh, man. It was such a different view on security. It was such a different, it's such a different outlook on security. But security, I mean, it's no joke when you're going on an LL flight, and
Yeah.
you're going to be asked numerous questions. You're going to be asked, and it's funny because I didn't know this, and I think I'm correct on this. So El Al is a state airline. Shin Bet is internal security. So what they do is Shin Bet, which is like kind of like the FBI and Homeland Security rolled up into one.
Okay.
They do the security for El Al.
Oh.
Since it's a government airline. So it's intense because, I don't know, Israelis can be intense. That's not a bad thing. It's just, I mean, have you ever tried to buy anything in Israel? You know what I mean?
Toilet paper. That was an experience.
Yeah, it's like, it's just intense. How much do you need? A roll. That's all? Why? What? You don't need 5? No, I'm not. You're thinking ahead for me. Okay. It's just, yeah, it's like they apply their social metric, their intense social metric to everything. So.
And it's funny because it's like, I live in New York, so like there's kind of like you don't really care what the other person's doing next to you as long as it doesn't interfere with you. So it's like when they're like, how much do you need of this? And I was like, why are you asking so many questions? Like, let me go about my life. Like, it's weird.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's it's funny too because we can take that perspective and we can. So in the Midwest, I'm sure they don't have the Army and NYPD ESU, which is they're like SWAT at the train stations.
Yeah.
We do. We have that. It's a normal thing. It's like not a big deal. It's not anything but
it's our normal.
Yeah. So for us, it's our normal. But when you bring people from other places, why are there so many guys with guns? Well, it's just
we're like, is something wrong? It's like, no.
No.
It's so nothing goes wrong.
They're not shooting, so everything's fine. But their normal is that intense security. We're talking about the airlines in future episodes. In future episodes, we'll talk about things that you need to be aware of when you're walking around Israel, like going to the mall and stuff like that. They check your bags.
That was a different thing to experience. I remember like when we were going in the train from the airport, and they were like the soldiers in training, like you would see them like going onto the train.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But then but they have the guns, and I was like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. It was so different.
So for those of you who don't know, Bigash is talking about the IDF or the Air Force. They walk around. They're in the military, and it's
because it's mandatory for them, right?
Yeah, their personal weapon, their rifle, is on them at all times. It's not like in the United States where we have an armorer, and when you're not at the range or you're not in the field, your rifle goes to the armorer into the armory. They don't do that there. They have their weapons on them at all times, which I don't know. Having been in the military, having been in the Navy and the Army, I could see it gives you a greater awareness of it, a greater sense of responsibility by having it around you all the time. But yeah, so that's something you'll see when you're going around. On the airplanes, you don't see guns. So
no,
it's not a big deal. Not even at the airports. But we are at the half hour right now, and what I would like to do is our second set of ads. Which, hey, pays the bills, bro. So I have something to say about
Agua.
Navi Oat. Navi Oat is a brand of water in Israel. Navi Oat at its best taste. Nature at its best taste. Navi Oat delivers you with a true combination of health and pleasure based on Navi Oat natural mineral, one of its kind in Israel. It's enhanced with 5 B group vitamins. It's naturally sweetened. It's low calorie, only 35 to 40 calories per 8 fluid ounces. No preservatives, no color additives, and it is available in delicious, indulging flavors. Again, I love that, indulging flavors. Apple, peach, and grape. If you're in Israel, you should be drinking Navi Oat. For more information, check out their website at www.neviottglobal.com/en/home. That's www.neviot global.com/en/home. When I was in Israel, I was not without it, and I don't pretty much think you were either.
No. Either that or it was just like the normal regular water version, but peach Navi Oat all day, every day.
Now, if you're in the U.S. and you've had Navi Oat and you're dying for it, or if you're curious about it and you want to find out what all the buzz is about between us and between other people who've visited, go to McCulloch Online. McCulloch Online's main goal is to make Israeli groceries and Judaic products affordable and available to everyone in the USA and Canada. Their online store carries items that are unavailable in most places in North America, things like tahini,
Yum.
Israeli chocolates,
Yummy yum.
frozen borekas,
His yummy yum.
and the Navi Oat water that we are drinking here today. At McCulloch Online, you will find your favorite Israeli goods or simply enjoy brand new flavors. All of their products are kosher, and most are manufactured in Israel. If you want the taste of Israel delivered to your home, visit www.makoletonline.com. That's www.makoletonline.com and order today. I actually have to put in a new order because we need more water. Yay. I love Navi Oat. Navi Oat rocks. And McCulloch Online gets it here quick. It gets it here cheap. I also get a couple of other things. Vitamin Cheek, which I'm going to have to bring that on and show people when we talk about Israeli food. And that's a syrup that you can put in water.
That was his crack.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I live for it.
You know what I like? I like that the bottle is. I don't mind the size of the bottle. Like some people are like, oh, you can't carry this, but like from walking around Israel, like I would have rather had this size than a normal 16 ounce, because that would have been done in one shot.
So I bought 4 of these and put them in my backpack to get on the plane, and
How
it
did
made
you
me
get this on the plane?
throw them out. I was so pissed.
It's a liquid.
Shish. I bought it inside the terminal.
Oh.
I should have been able to bring it on, but they wouldn't
Yeah.
let us. We could. It's funny because flying in, security was not as intense as it was going back home.
For you.
Yeah. No, right? I guess. But LL. All right, so we've talked about security about LL, and we touched on it in the beginning, but I want to touch on customer service. This is a positive podcast, so I'm talking about positive things, but every once in a while I have to bring up something that just doesn't sit entirely well. And what that is their LL doesn't, I don't know how I can put this. I want to put it carefully because I don't want to offend anyone or make anyone mad. Mm-hmm. So LL goes out of their way. They did go out of their way to treat us well.
Yeah, I agree with that. They treated us nicely.
Yeah, they were. The problem is I feel like the flight attendants the flight attendants on LL always seemed as if they are overburdened. Now, an individual psychologically doesn't normally appear overburdened in a customer service environment
Because they're not allowed to.
unless they are overburdened. And on a number of flights, not all the flights, don't get me wrong, but the larger majority of the flights, it seemed as if the LL flight attendants were overburdened. That there were certain classes, certain groups that were attended to beforehand, so as not to agitate them, so as to sort of get them off of the flight attendant's back so that they could deal with the rest of the customers, with the rest of the passengers. And I don't mean deal with them in the sense that we need to be dealt with. I mean deal with them in the sense that get us food, get us drinks. And there were groups of people there who just, made it difficult, would not listen, would cut in line as we were getting on the plane, and just set the tone very negatively. And I think that because of that, flying LL, I'm being vague, and I feel like I'm not giving the whole story, but no, I felt like there were groups of passengers that were taken care of more quickly and with more care than other groups of passengers. And I'm not talking about class difference. I'm not talking about business class versus economy. A lot of the groups with larger families were taken care of first, and would dominate the flight attendants' free time. Would interrupt the flight attendants when they were serving us. You know what I mean? I didn't get X. I didn't get Y. I need Y. Sir, I'll be with you in a moment. And they would stand there and stay there. And it was incredibly rude and it was annoying. But when we flew on Delta and these same groups of people were on our Delta flight, they weren't afforded the luxury. They weren't afforded the
priority.
The priority, yeah. And I'm going to tell you they're afforded priority out of the fact that they're like that customer who is such a pain in the butt that you deal with them. Just, you know, that customer is going to be a pain in the butt. So you deal with them and you get them everything you need to keep them quiet and keep them off your back.
Can I speak to the manager, please?
Yeah. And there were a lot of individuals like that on a number of our LL flights, on my LL flights. And I'm not singling anyone out. I'm not singling any group of people out. But I am saying that there are individuals who don't take
courtesy.
Yeah, the courtesy of other passengers that they have to be on this flight with. And because of that, now it's not the individuals or the group's fault. Hold on, I'm going to drink
coffee.
For some reason, I really need it today. So and the reason I'm being vague, here's the reason I'm being vague. One, I'm being vague because I don't want to single out a group of people as having bad behaviors. Okay, I don't think that's appropriate. I will mention that the behavior exists. I think that's important. What I will single out is LL's reaction to it. LL's response to it. Because if you look on Delta, if you look on Iberia, which I've flown, which is a great airline. If you could fly Iberia, and here is how great Iberia is. Iberia lost my luggage.
Oh, no. Really?
They lost my luggage on the way home. I would fly them again in a heartbeat because they delivered my luggage to my door.
Wow. That's so... Not a lot of flights do that. They're like tough.
It was just, I remember being, but I have so many things in there. I have so many gifts in there. There were gifts in there that I brought back from Israel.
Oh, no.
But they brought it right to my door.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'll fly you guys. No problem. You know, being a Spanish Jew, I love Spanish Airlines. So, yeah. Anyways, that is neither here nor there. It's just so I can feel cool. Sorry. Yay. So, so the reason I bring it up is these individuals don't get away with it on Iberia. They don't get away with it on Delta. They don't get away with it on any other airlines except for El Al. And it's why I don't like to fly on El Al, because El Al doesn't treat all of their passengers with the same level of courtesy and respect. And it's why I don't enjoy giving El Al money.
Okay. I respect that.
So the reason I'm bringing this all up is not to trash El Al. It's to warn you and let you know that when you fly on El Al, and if you don't like it, well, there you go. It's the food's amazing.
Yeah.
They get you where you need to be. The flight attendants are wonderful. They are really great. It's just that certain individuals can tend to dominate the needs of the flight attendants. On our flight back, meals were served about an hour into the flight. We didn't eat for 2.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang.
People were done eating when they brought us beverages. And that's the other thing I don't like about LA. They're cheap. So Delta, all the other airlines, they'll give you a can of soda, right?
Yeah.
Or a bottle or whatever. Delta has large bottles like this, and they pour out into a little dinky cup for you to drink. And then they come back 2 hours later. And on top of that, you're not allowed to bring anything from the terminal onto an LL flight. So, all right, listen. I'm ranting, and I don't want to rant. I don't want to rant. So, what I would suggest is if you're going to fly to Israel, what do you like? Do you think a direct flight or a layover?
I really feel like it depends because like, what is it, from New York to Europe in general is like 6 to 8 hours ish, right?
It's like 7 hours, 8 hours.
Yeah. Like, if it's straight, like, that's doable. But it's hard because I've done a 16, 20-hour flight, and part of my soul is probably still in the sky thinking, why did I do this? Because, like, there's only so long you can sleep, and I can't get first class, so I'm not sleeping swell. So, like, it's just sitting like this, saying, please help me. And it's there's only so many movies, too, that you can enjoy unless you bring your own things, and then your device dies, and then it's like, and now I'm alone with my thoughts.
No, I'll say this about LL. Their in-flight entertainment was pretty rocking. It was pretty awesome. Because I just took a direct flight, which was 15 hours, I think. I think it was 13 to 15 hours, which is a bear. But you got to understand, I can sleep any. See, it's funny because I was just thinking about this. So in the beginning, I said, this is the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. It's a positive podcast. And I picked the one thing to talk about when it comes to Israel that is like the least positive about the experience, and that is the flight. For some people, the flight's amazing. And for me, flying is amazing. I love flying.
I love flying, yeah.
But I will tell you this. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is. I have things to come.
See, you do know what purgatory is like.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Holy cow. So I feel bad. This is our second podcast, and it's like, hopefully this will be the most negative podcast we have. But flying, for me, I think after having taken this last time a direct flight, I think taking a layover is way better. It's way nicer. It's way more chill. What did we do? We had
layovers each time.
We had
for me.
But what was the timing? What was the time frame? Like, did we leave? We left in the evening?
It was like
afternoon?
Afternoonish. It wasn't even like that late afternoon. And then like eventually like you would sleep at like your normal home time. And like that was like a good amount into the flight. That is like, all right, you do want to go to sleep. And then you just kind of wake up like ideally when another meal's being served.
And then we were in Barcelona, right? Then we were there. Yeah. And then I think we were getting on the flight in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning or something, 11 o'clock.
10 a.m. of Spain, but like it was afternoonish technically in New York.
And that's why I like the Spain trip, is because it gets you in at a time. For some reason, all the other flights, they got you in at a time that was like too late in the day or way too early in the day.
Mm-hmm.
No, late in the day. I think it was later in the day. And it wound up not getting you in until like 5 o'clock in the evening. Like we wound up in Israel at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, because it wasn't even like late. It was like almost evening. Because like it was dark.
See, and the thing is, flying into Ben Gurion, flying into Ben Gurion is awesome. I love it.
That airport is cool.
Yeah, right? It's the only thing about that airport that really kind of ticks me off, though, is the rotunda. And
that's the coolest part with the water.
Yes, it is if you're on a departure. But if you're on an arrival, you walk in and the walkway goes around this big mall with a food court and everything. And you're like, wow, this is so great. This is awesome. Wait a minute.
Touch it.
Wait a minute. Why are we walking past it? I'm really hungry. I've been on a flight for freaking God knows how long. And it's twice as, because every time I've gone there, you know that rotunda that we walked through?
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, as you're walking by, it's all Gold Star ads. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I just want a beer. Because I don't think they had Gold Star on the plane.
I don't know.
I think they didn't have, no, I don't know.
I don't drink beer like that.
But yeah, I kind of do. Just a little bit of beer. But yeah, so you fly in, and then if you're lucky, well then, all right, so then you go through passport control. How long are you going to be here? Okay, come. Yalla. And you go through, and it's so disinterested. So intense, but disinterested. I don't know how those two things got put together, but it's like, okay, come. And you go through and you go to pick up your bags and you're like, yeah, we're here. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. And you go down this enormous, before you get to there, you go down this enormous ramp. Yeah, right? It's beautiful. There's a little...
And it has Wi-Fi.
Yes, it does. And it's got all these huge paintings on the wall. There's a floor escalator. What's that called?
The moving floor escalator thing.
Yeah, it's got that, and you get on that, and you're like,
moving walkway. There we go.
Yes, moving walkway. And then you come through, and it says, welcome to Israel. And you go through passport control, you get your bags, and then you come out. And if you're lucky, you came out when a bunch of new arrivals to the country showed up. And what I mean by new arrivals, it's Olim, people who are making Aliyah, people who are moving to Israel. And they're playing all this music. Yeah, it's really intense. It's really, did you remember that?
Yeah.
Do you remember the music? And I was like, they're not here for us. Just keep moving. Go over there.
No.
And then
not for us.
then I do the big sin, and that is I have a cigarette. Sorry. Hey, you know what? I will admit it. But yeah. So, well, actually, it's a funny story about cigarettes. So, Madrid. Flying back from Madrid. So we're flying back from Madrid, and I said, I want to have a cigarette. So they said, well, you have to leave the airport. And I said, okay. Stamp my passport. They were like, sir. I was like, I don't care. I'll come back in. I can do that, right? And they were like, absolutely. So I said, come on, we're leaving the airport. You didn't know that I had talked to the guy. And you were like, where are we going? And I said, I'm going to have a cigarette. You can't have a cigarette in there. No. Come on. And they stamped our passport in Madrid again.
Yeah.
And we went outside to where all the buses were.
Yeah, just the main entrance.
And we had that Gatorade thing.
Yeah.
So good. It's like Gatorade, but not. Anyways, So I don't know what the purpose of that story was.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes. So we're not going to talk about cigarettes anymore because I don't want to promote an unhealthy lifestyle. Yeah, whatever.
You're so salty.
Today, I'm not. I think it's not that I'm salty. It's that we're talking about something that makes me salty, and that is flying. I don't mind it. I wish I could be there. I wish I could just do
Teleport.
like Star Trek stuff and like be in Israel. Or I wish they could do like big game hunters and they could just like, I could be walking in the backyard and then some guy from like some Australian dude, all right, there he is. We're going to get him. Dunk. And I get like the big, like tranquilizer dart sticking out of my butt and I fall over like a tiger. And then I wake up and I'm at Gurion Airport.
That's what NyQuil is for.
I could. No, but NyQuil gives you a hangover. The other thing you can do is you can take Tylenol PM, which I think I did when we were there. I did the one thing you're not supposed to do, and that's have 2 scotches and a couple of Tylenol PM and then call me when we're in Tel Aviv. Don't do that. Don't do that. Your head will hurt so bad.
But he was out. Like, I was like, wow, I really have this whole flight to myself.
Well, the flight back. Remember the flight back? I talked to the model.
Yeah.
I met a model. Yeah. And got home and told my wife about it. And she said, really? You met a model? I said, yeah, she was super nice. So you met a model? I'm in trouble, aren't I? No, you're not. But she was super nice. Katie Syme, what's up? Watch our podcast. Listen to our podcast. That was on Air Europa, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, long story short, wrapping up because do you realize it's already been almost an hour?
Wow.
This flew by. This griping about flying flew by. So, all right. So, wrapping it up in a nutshell, my personal opinion, a layover flight is the best. What's yours?
I would say a layover flight as well, but just don't fly into a crappy airport that is a hospital.
Oh, all right.
Or at least I would leave from that airport because then I can go in the stores and the restaurants and entertain myself.
Right.
But don't put me in purgatory, please.
Now, if people have suggestions about airports in Europe that they fly over from, also, if you're flying in from South Africa, what do? Let us know. Oh. If you're flying over from South America, if you're flying from South America, you probably fly into the United States and then over, but maybe you don't. Let us know. Me personally, I got to tell you, one of the things that I want to do, and I'm interested in looking into this, is the next time you and I go, I'm curious about a direct flight on Delta or another carrier. Not LL. Not LL. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, LL. Dude, you know what, LL? You want me to fly you? You want me to say good things about you? Sell me on it. There you go. All right. So we're interested on hearing your stories. So let us know. Yes. We're interested on hearing your experiences. So let us know. I am going to, what am I going to do?
Read more.
I'm going to wrap this up. I have 2 things that I want to talk about. One, thank you. Thank you for
so much for
listening.
Watching.
Definitely. Thank you so much for watching. I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
No. All right, so there are two charities that I want to talk about real quick. One of them is LA. LA helps children with complex disabilities receive state-of-the-art medical, educational, and rehabilitative care in LA's 4 facilities. In addition, LA provides thousands of outpatient treatments annually. Without LA, many of these children would be forced to spend their lives in hospitals with no opportunities for rehabilitation, education, and the love and warmth of a home. Please visit www.aleh.org, www.la.org, and see if there is a way that you can help. The second one that I want to talk to you about is Schneider Children's Medical Center of Israel. Schneider's is the only comprehensive tertiary care hospital of its kind in the country and in the Middle East, offering the full range of pediatric disciplines under one roof to all children from 0 to 18. Since its establishment in 1991, Schneider Childrens has revolutionized the practice of pediatric medicine in the country and been recognized as one of the leading pediatric institutions in the world. To see what you can do for them, please visit www.schneider.org.il/ENG. www.schneider.org.il/ENG. Those are two organizations that take care of angels, basically. So anything you can do to help them out, do it. Please. You should be going now. Just turn off our thing. Go help them.
Maybe wait to the end.
Yes. All right. Another thing I want to talk about, the fact that we want to film 6 episodes of our full half-hour length show, 12 Cities in Israel, the travel show. To do this, we need to be in Israel to film. We are trying to make our budget of $50,000 through fundraising. This includes airfare and lodging, equipment and transportation around Israel, and a host of other things that are required when on location with a crew of 4 people for 7 weeks in another country. So there's a lot to pay for when you have 4 people trying to film a show for 7 weeks in Israel. By giving us just $2, you can bring us closer to the $50,000 that we need and enable us to bring the full 12 Cities in Israel web series to life. I want to thank these 2 people.
Yay. We would like to thank Mary David from Middleburg, Florida, and Mitchell Morgenstern from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for helping us out. And anyone who does help us out, unless you ask specifically, we will recognize you both on the show and on our website. I have to update the website. Reminder to do that. So, hey, sorry for the salty podcast. We were talking about flying, so but we appreciate the fact that you guys are listening. All right, thank you so much for joining us for the 12 Cities in Israel podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our feed and become a part of the 12 Cities in Israel community. We'll be bringing you a brand new podcast every week, so keep your eyes and ears out for that.
And please visit our YouTube channel where you can see our video version of this podcast and our other videos that we have produced, including our full-length travel episode on the city of Beersheba in southern Israel. And while you're there, please share it and subscribe. Check us out at our website at www.12citiesinisrael.com and our Facebook page, on our Instagram, where he posts brand new pictures of our travels from Israel. And that's it for now. All right.
תודה רבה. להתראות ויאללה ביי.
Bye bye.